Hi everyone, I'm Janvi and I'm really excited to introduce you to my friend Joel. We met in Xavier's. Actually, Joel started right when I left and I graduated in 2018 and Joel started in 2018, but we were connected through a department and a professor. And so that professor used to invite me, Father Prashant, and that's when I got introduced to Joel. And ever since we were in touch, I think through Instagram, social media. I'm really excited. Thanks for coming, Joel. Joel has done his MSc, in psychology for health and well-being, and he's very passionate about healthcare and education. He has some really interesting experiences to share, and we're going to talk a little bit more about his experiences studying in Christ University, and also the internship experiences and other things that he did. So, thank you so much for coming, Joel.
Thank you for having me, Janvi. I'm excited as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask you to describe what did you study and where.
Yeah. So, as you rightly said, this is an MSc in Psychology, Health and Wellbeing. It's a very new course in that sense in India, internationally well recognized and established. But in India, the first, University of Hyderabad was the first institute to actually start this course in health psychology in 2012, actually. So it's been about 12 to 13 years since they started. And Christ University started a course in MSc Psychology, Health and Wellbeing about 3 years ago. So we are the third, uh, not 3 years ago, 3 to 4 years ago. We are the third graduating batch from Christ. And so yeah, this course, again, as I said, relatively new. They're still kind of figuring out whether to call it health and well-being or health psychology, but yeah, to give you an idea, the whole focus is how do we focus on the positive aspects of psychology, the application of psychology in healthcare, which is much needed now, great focus all over the world. Especially in India, the challenges are very different. So, from that perspective, there are a lot of possibilities for this course, but also concerns regarding recognition and the way forward. So, and we'll talk a little more about that. But yeah, it's something which is new and exciting, and it's been creating a small buzz in the country as well.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. When I was doing a master's in 2019, we had such few options. It was mostly either clinical or counseling. Once in a while you get, or like industrial, and once in a while you could see cognitive. But
Mm.
this is really exciting. So
Yeah.
my question, I'm going to ask you, what got you interested in health and well-being?
Yes, that's a good question. Actually, for me, it was kind of a journey when I began to be interested in the field of psychology. I was asking personally very big questions like, what is life all about? Why do we behave the way that we do? Such kind of things. And as I progressed, my personal experiences actually in life and with my personal health actually led me to choose this course. Just to give you a little backstory, which could be interesting as well. Uh, you remember in Xavier's through DIRS, Father Prashant would take us to exposure visits in tribal areas. So through one of these opportunities, we were actually organizing a World Indigenous Peoples Day event in college.
Wow.
And I had the opportunity to be part of the organizing committee and invite Pradeep Prabhu, who is a tribal rights activist. So after the event was over and we called him for a panel, so we sent him a thank you email. I sent him this email on behalf of the IRS, and he said, panel discussions are okay, but if you want to experience something real, why don't you come live with us in the tribal village? And that will be an experience for you. So without hesitation, I said, yes, let's go for it. I would love to come.
Wow.
So one random Sunday morning, when I was least expecting it, I got a call from him saying, please catch a train in the afternoon and you'll reach Dahanu and take a bus from there and reach this tribal village. So just very spontaneously, I happened to go there. at that point, I was a student of anthropology as well. So it was very interesting for me to learn about the tribal people, the culture there, the way of life. When I went there, what I experienced there was very different way of life, very simple way of life.
Hmm.
Not just rural. I've been exposed to rural ways of life, but this was very different. Something about it was very different. There were a lot of natural, scene, greenery, and there was hills and valleys. There were farmlands. There was natural pools of water where people would either take a bath or take a dip. So it was almost, surreal kind of an experience. But as I experienced those few days, and I went back again after about a month or two because I just wanted more of that experience.
Wow.
When I came away from that experience, I actually, the only one thought in my mind was that, they have a culture of health uh, in that particular community. And what makes me say that is their lifestyle, their when they wake up early, the kind of physical activity they have during the day, the kind of diet that they have, which comes directly from the farming that they do, their cultural connectedness, their cultural orientation, and their social connectedness, which was really stunning to see. I mean, we think we're very connected today, but you need to go to a tribal village or learn about that kind of a culture to understand social connection. So I was amazed by what I experienced in this tribal village, and I came away thinking that they have a culture of health, and what is it that they have that we don't?
Hmm.
And that kind of got me thinking about what is health and why do we need to focus on this? How can we create more of it? And then my own personal struggles going through university, very stressed, uh, struggling to maintain my lifestyle, uh, and just falling sick very often, which is something that people who are stressed do experience, and we don't think why.
Hmm.
Which is very interesting. Again, health psychology explains that, and modern science explains that. So these experiences made me want to, really focus on how do I build up my health? What are those things I can do individually? What are those supports that I need from the community or from the system,
Hmm.
which I can't do myself, right? So many of those questions really made me interested in the field of health psychology, and also this aspect of well-being, which is again very different, which is fundamentally what we want from our lives, what we really strive for behind everything that we do. So it was really kind of an adventure, and I really wanted to say yes to that. And it has proven to be all that and more, you can say. So that's why I got into health psychology, and uh, that's what made me want to study this. And I would just say that when I was looking for options, this came up at the very last point when I was looking for options. I just saw, okay, Christ University has this program. They have multiple other programs. So health and well-being was one of them, and I was like, okay, that's what I want to do. Like that's calling out to me more than anything else. So that's little backstory, but yeah,
Wow.
that's how it happened.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. I agree. Health psychology explains so much with why we are stressed out, especially given that we are compromising our immunity when we're stressed out. And
Right.
well-being again, so important. So thanks for sharing. That was certainly very interesting, and I think our interests align. I see how, in DIRS, and now it's like I'm also interested in researching well-being, and so are you. So that's very fascinating.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
you did mention a few other masters available in psychology. Do you remember some on top of your head that are available at Christ?
So Christ University offers several programs at the master's level for psychology. They have subjects like, of course, counseling and clinical psychology, which are offered generally. They also have human resource development and management. They have two different programs for that. One is an international program, which gives you exposure to Germany, which is an exchange program with Germany. Very interesting. They have other programs in neuropsychology. They have an MSc in neuropsychology. They have an MSc in educational psychology.
Wow.
And further, for healthcare, they have MSc Psychology, Health and Wellbeing, which is the one I've done. And they have MSc Psycho-Oncology, which is focused on uh, specialized care for oncology patients, cancer patients, and terminal illness cases. So they also have one program in behavioral sciences. Uh, so that is also there. So they have nearly 7 to 8 different master's courses. So wide variety of options to choose from.
Yeah, thanks. Um,
Yeah.
that's fascinating. I love that. So many options that are available at this point. And yeah, so talking about health psychology a little bit, why do you think this subject and even in the US, health service psychology and health service psychologists are considered, we're trying to get more and more people trained in that. But why, according to you,
Hmm.
it's an important field and should we be talking about it?
Yes. So traditionally, psychology has always dealt with what is, simplifying it a lot. What is wrong with a human being, or what are those aspects about us that we need to heal or fix? So, and that is very essential. And that's how things really got started um, with some of the earliest psychologists,
Yeah.
right? And we continue to do that until we realize that, okay, that's just one part of it. There's much more to human nature that we need to actually focus on. And so, a lot more studies, which began with the study of stress and its effect on human body, the study of positive emotions. So, we had the field of positive psychology coming up. And so many of these different fields got amalgamated into health psychology. So, it's been an evolution over time, which has led to this. And the focus of health psychology is applying psychology in the field of healthcare, basically. So, health psychologists work in hospitals, clinics, they work in de-addiction centers
Yeah.
and similar such settings to focus on people who have physical health related conditions and arising psychological distress. And the interesting thing is also the uh, focus on the connection between mind and body. So, how does physical health impact mental health? How does mental health impact physical health, and vice versa? And there are so many other aspects to it. And I think personally, uh, I would like to share something that I actually came across before I began my degree. I was reading this book by Abraham Maslow called Toward a Psychology of Being. Very interesting. I'd just begun to explore his work and I picked up this book. And in this book, he actually, I can't believe, in 1960, he's talking about health psychology
Mm.
when people barely knew anything about it, or it was not even a thing.
Mm.
And he's saying that uh, psychology has always, as I said, traditionally dealt with one half. So he's saying Freud supplied the sick half, and it is our duty now to look at the other healthy half,
Mm.
to look at how human beings can achieve their fullest potential. What
Mm.
are those things that human beings can do that can actually make them healthy, happy, whole, well? So it is really that exploration. He also says that it is, one way to make a better world is to focus on individual health. And individuals who are healthy make a healthy culture, and a healthy culture makes a healthy individual. So these ideas, I think, were some of the earliest
Mm.
in the field, and I'm sure there are other thinkers as well, but this is one that I'm aware of. That was really inspiring to me, and I think this focus on health, which is okay, it's not just essential for us to not have an illness, physical or mental, but life doesn't just stop there. Like we, as human beings, we're not satisfied if we don't have anything wrong with us. We still feel empty.
Mm-hmm.
We need something more than just that to feel like all is well. And so I think health psychology comes in there to say, okay, uh, how can we how can we improve health? How can we promote health? How can we enhance an individual's sense of happiness, well-being, feelings of connection to self and others? So I think this is the relevance of health psychology, and it has come about at the very right time because our world is changing very rapidly. Uh, I think we've also been discussing about some of the changes that have been happening, but more than that, I think in terms of our lifestyle, in terms of technology, we've just seen the beginning with some of the changes in just the last few years. I think the next decade is going to look very different. And so health psychology is that field which is looking at several other aspects like preventive health. How can we prevent a disease or a mental health condition from even happening?
Right.
How can we prevent even this is what we learned in public health, which is very fascinating last semester. How can we prevent even the symptoms, the risk factors from being in place? So one is preventing the illness itself, but preventing the risk factors is even like it's what we call primordial prevention. Very interesting. So
Mm-hmm.
health psychology broadly focuses on preventive health,
Mm-hmm.
promotive health, and reducing the burden of illness. And one of the things which really shocked me when I was in my UG, I was doing my dissertation for anthropology, and I came across this statistic which said that almost 70 to 80% of annual deaths are due to chronic non-communicable diseases. And that was very, I mean, for me, it was like, wow, so many people are dying of this cluster of conditions. So chronic non-communicable diseases include heart diseases, cancers, uh, cardiovascular, respiratory diseases, diabetes, all of these. And majority are linked to lifestyle, linked to our habits, linked to our choices.
Mm-hmm.
So again, these are various different reasons, but health psychology comes in to say, okay, what do we now need in the current landscape that we can actually start thinking about, that we can research about. And since human health is something which is important to everybody,
Mm-hmm.
health psychology becomes something also essential in that particular area.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. Yeah, that's great. I think we do need to, because as a positive re psychology researcher myself, I strongly
Mm,
believe
mm,
that it's not always about after it's done trying to cure. It you could also work
mm,
on preventive factors and lifestyle related factors to prevent health.
mm.
That's great. So I mean, the next question is more technical, administrative. Is how do you go on the website? What is the website? Where do you find out? And what's the date to apply? And then I'll also ask you about your experience, fee structure, everything. But how do you
Mm.
apply for this? If you want to share.
So, do you mind if I share my
Yeah,
screen?
yeah, please.
Yeah, okay, let me do that. Okay, so Christ University has their website, which is quite easy to access. I'll just share my screen. Is it visible?
Not yet. Okay, now it is.
Yes. So basically, you go onto the Christ University website. You'll find all these visuals of students doing all kinds of different things. You go to academics and you click School of Psychological Sciences. It'll open up a new window. You click psychology here, and you will see the range of courses at the undergraduate, postgraduate level, even at the doctoral PhD level. So you go to postgraduate, and you can see here the range of different degrees that they offer, the different courses that are available. And you select the one that you want to apply to. So I'll select MSc Psychology, Health and Wellbeing. There are also different campuses in Bangalore. There are four different campuses of Christ offering different programs. So I did mine from, that's my professor, Dr. Patrick. So as you can see, the applications are already open, and they're open until the end of this month, until 29th of April uh, this month. So you can just click apply. All of the details, you might have many questions about the eligibility criteria, the fee structure, uh, students at national as well as international categories, admission process, syllabus, the course structure, everything is available here. And they also have a number that you can call if you needed additional details. So most of the details for this course you can find on the website itself.
This is really helpful. Thank you. And there is no entrance or anything, right, for application, or did you have to give an entrance exam?
Yes, there is an entrance process. It's quite a detailed process which starts with um, uh, an entrance exam. So you will have MCQ questions which will which will cover most of undergraduate psychology, as well as few questions from basic health psychology related questions about health in general.
Okay.
And then there is an interview where they ask you about why this course, what is your background, why are you interested, uh, and they could ask you some general psychology questions. Um, so I'll be happy to answer some more questions on that if there are.
Okay.
But yeah,
Thanks. No, I'm going to ask you more also on, I mean, first, how did you prepare for your entrance exam, or did you not prepare?
I actually prepared. I had some time on my hands.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually went through your basic. Oh, here it is. This is a good book. It's your basic, undergraduate Ciccarelli and White Pearson psychology. I have it here with me because I'm also planning to prepare further for other entrance exams. But yeah, that's your basic go-to at the undergraduate. So your preparation consists of, as I said, all the undergraduate material that you've covered. So that includes all your, attention, perception, memory,
Yeah,
emotion,
learning. Yeah.
everything, abnormal psychology, research, especially research methods and statistics. There are one or two questions where you have to solve, find the median and stuff like that. So it's good to know your formulas and few basic. It doesn't go too intense, but it's good to cover your basic portions and solve a lot of MCQ. I solved a lot of MCQ questions just to give myself that practice. And in terms of the interview, there are a lot of resources available online on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and you put in uh, prepare for Christ entrance exams, you'll find a lot of people who share their experiences. So it's good to go through that and prepare yourself accordingly.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. That's what I followed.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really helpful. So I'm gonna probably ask you a little bit about more any courses that were memorable, something that you liked, did not like. What did you enjoy the most? Like if you want to share a few of your courses that you did,
Mm,
and
mm,
also,
mm.
like in my master's, the first year was the same for every master's student, and second year we specialized. I don't know if that's the same for your or, how was that? So just curious about that.
Sure, sure. So I'll give your viewers a little a brief sense of what the course structure was like and also some of the papers. So in our 2-year program, the first year is almost entirely theory. So the first 2 semesters we have roughly 5 to 6 papers each semester, and we are, as I said, looking primarily at theory-based courses. I'll give you the overview first. So we have theory-based courses in Sem 1 and Sem 2. After the first year, we have a summer observership where we are asked to do a 1 month observership or an internship in a psychiatric setting.
Mhm.
So I did my observership at Victoria Hospital in Bangalore. That's a uh, teaching hospital associated with Bangalore Medical College and Research Institute. So it was a really good experience. Because our course does not focus on um mental illness or psychiatry, but still they gave us an exposure to a psychiatric setting so that we understand about mental disorders as well. So that was a good 1 month in between both first and second years. And then the second year is when we go more into the practical aspects. So uh, in the third semester, semesters, we have two separate internships,
Yeah.
and we are also taking pro bono clients under supervision of our faculty in both the semesters. So you have 4 clients minimum in Sem 3 and 4 clients in Sem 4. And there's a lot of support provided by the faculty as well in terms of handling the cases. So, and then you, of course, present with a viva at the end. So this is the overview. And also just to share that we had the first year with the psycho-oncology master's students as well. So since both health and well-being and psycho-oncology are health-related courses,
Mm-hmm.
so our first year theory was shared with them as well, and second year we specialized. So it was like that. So some of the interesting papers in first semester we had one paper, systems of the body, basic anatomy and physiology, which was very interesting because we generally, I don't know, we do study biopsychology, I think, but we were taught like a proper, about the body, different systems, all of that. And that was very interesting because the person teaching us was not from psychology. The person teaching us was actually a neurophysiologist or a neuroscientist, kind of pure science researcher and scholar. So it was very interesting to like really be challenged in terms of bio, but while it is challenging, it's not impossible.
Mm-hmm.
It is like a good. It gives you a strong foundation for work in the medical or healthcare field. We also had neurobiology of cognition, affect, and behavior. So you kind of integrate the learning from uh, your anatomy, physiology to neurobiology. So you learn again about so there's some overlaps. You learn a little bit about the brain and nervous system in your anatomy, physiology, but in neurobiology, you focus more on what's happening in the brain. How does the brain control things like your thirst, hunger, your sleep, sex, and all of your basic physiological functions? Very interesting. Uh, so that we had that. We also had biostatistics,
Oh, wow. Okay.
which can be challenging for some. I know it was challenging for me, but I got through it, luckily. It's a good because you are taught uh, research methods right from your first semester. You have quantitative research and biostatistics, and of course, you have an introduction to health psychology paper where you just get introduced to the field itself. By second semester, we're studying things like social and personality development across the lifespan, uh, where we also learn about, interestingly, the professor introduced us to physical development as well and how that impacts mental health and well-being as well. So we had that paper. We had mental health disorders, which then gets connected to our observership after our second semester. So we have a theory and practical link there. Very interesting. Um, we also had this paper on chronic illness and its management. So we go through each of the different chronic illnesses like diabetes, like heart, cardiovascular disease, and we learn about the what is again. So when you're doing this, you're connecting what you learned in anatomy, what you learned in neurobiology. So it's well structured that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we also had a paper on basic clinical and counseling skills where they have a really good emphasis on ethics. They have one separate paper on ethics in healthcare,
That's good.
uh, which is very, very good. They teach you about the basic ethics of a person working in healthcare, of a psychologist in healthcare. How do you prioritize certain things over the others?
So do you
They
use the
teach you about
APA?
public health.
Sorry, public
Sorry.
health. Do they
Uh,
use the APA code of ethics?
they they do have the AP as well, but we learn about a broad range of things. We learn about the history of ethical development, about research ethics, about practicing ethics. So a lot of different things are part of that. It's a very well structured course that gives you like a strong foundation, for all the practical work that you do in the next 2 semesters. So that's your first year. By third semester, we have papers like psychoneuroimmunology.
Hmm.
Again, as we discussed earlier, the connection between stress, immunity, and our cognitive capacities. So we have psychoneuroimmunology, we have science of well-being, which is again a very interesting paper. One paper entirely dedicated to studying about happiness, about um, well-being, about gratitude, resilience, flow, all of those fun things. It's very interesting. And of course, since it's the science of well-being, you also study the scientific basis, the research studies that actually show why some of these things are true and essential in health psychology. So there's that. Mm. There's of course, constant. By this point, you're already doing your research. You've started working on your research manuscript, and you're kind of finalizing that as well. You have your practicum paper, which has your internship as well as your pro bono. So yeah, and by third semester you start your internship. So you'll be doing maybe 3 to 4 months of internship at a site of your choice. So you will choose your site, or sometimes they might assign you a site if you need that as well. So I did my STEM 3 internship at NIMHANS, Geriatric Psychiatry Unit. Very, very interesting to understand the specific concerns of the elderly, especially India being a country which is now soon going to have the largest population of elderly from the largest population of youngsters, where gradually those youngsters will get old. And there are specific concerns that people have at the old age, especially when it comes to mental health. So we get exposed to all of those things. And we also get exposed to the kind of projects that they have for geriatric well-being,
Mm-hmm.
which is also very interesting, which we got to be a part of, like projects like, connecting the elderly and the youth and seeing how that can impact the well-being of both the groups,
Wow.
which was an interesting study that we got to actually participate in. Um, so there's that. So the internship experiences are quite rich and good. And by final semester, you're kind of, like uh, you've got a lot of theory, you've got a lot of practical, and you're just kind of ready to integrate everything. So we have only about two papers, 2 to 3 papers in our final semester. We had working with children and families as like a short crash course. We also had working with geriatric and chronic illness patients
Mm-hmm.
as well. And those were like elective papers, much shorter this one. And our main papers in our final semester were public health interventions and occupational health and well-being. Again, very interesting because there's a lot more focus today on the world of work and uh, how people experience their work. People spend most of their time at work. So the kind of health concerns that arise and how can you actually support employee health and well-being. So that was an interesting paper as well. And of course, you have your final internship. And the entire process is quite systematic. You go from one semester to the other. You have internal assessments, you have examinations, you have your pro bono therapy going on, you have research going on. So it can seem like a lot because there's a lot going on, but if you trust the process, what I've learned is that you come out very resilient, very strong,
Mm.
very trained to face intensive clinical work.
Yeah.
So All in all, I've had a good experience with this course. So yeah, I would definitely recommend anybody who's considering being bold, adventurous, thinking forward to actually take up a course like health and well-being.
Yeah, thank you. I agree. It's bold and courageous to try a new field which is just coming up. And also, I do think that it has a great future. That's what is a lot of focus in the work in
Mm.
America. Maybe this is like the last part of it.
Right.
Thank you for such a comprehensive description also.
Yeah.
What would you say are the future prospects for students after this degree? And I'll combine the technically another question is any message that you have for students who are looking to do a master's, any advice or anything that you'd like to share? So combining these two.
Okay. So the first part of your question was about
Future
um,
prospects, yeah.
future of health, future prospects. So one disclaimer which I would like to give at the very beginning is if you are the kind of person who likes structure, you like certainty, then better go for a different degree
Mm-hmm.
because this is a degree which is up and coming in India. It's not yet fully recognized like a clinical or a counseling psychology.
Okay.
So, so what we are hearing from our professors as well is you need to find your own way and make your own path. So that's what we've been told, and that's what we will do. Many times, what ends up happening with many previous cohorts is they end up getting assimilated into counseling psychology or some other field. So there is that as well. So the future prospects is actually very promising because there is a great need for uh, support in terms of mental health, well-being, which is very much in demand for people in almost all professions, in almost all aspects of life. So while there is a great demand, there is also the need to step out courageously and show why it is that your services are needed.
Hmm.
Okay, so there is that aspect as well. While that is said, um, there are very interesting avenues in which this field is applied. So definitely, hospitals are looking for people with background in healthcare and psycho-oncology. So many of my classmates have already got placed in hospitals and such institutions, which is very good. So you can, of course, work in any clinical setting, a hospital setting. If you like working in healthcare, there are also opportunities in, as I said, de-addiction centers or even infertility clinics are taking psychologists who specialize in health. Um, So there is that aspect. There's also a lot of opportunity in research because health-related research, and perhaps you could speak more about that. I can only say that uh, since health psychology is a new field, there is a lot of opportunity for research in healthcare, health psychology, mm, and all of these new fields like well-being, psychoneuroimmunology, occupational health. So research is something which is really booming, and if you are interested in just generally finding out more about how things work, and you have a knack for that, and you're interested in statistics and mathematics, definitely go for it, I would say. There's opportunities both governmentally and non-governmentally also, a lot of private grants as well. So research is one big area, I would say, which is available. Other than that, in terms of teaching also, because the interesting thing I found is most of our professors who are teaching us are not from health psychology and sometimes not even from psychology. So there is a dearth of people, there is a dearth of competent, qualified professionals in the field of mental health, even at the teaching level. So if you're passionate about the subject and you would love to talk about it, teach about it, and share your knowledge with others, teaching is an avenue which is available at almost all levels. I can share that we were sent as final year master students to the undergraduate course in our college to teach an elective paper on health and well-being. So, health and well-being or health psychology is now an elective at the undergraduate level. So, many of your viewers might already be learning these subjects at the undergraduate level, which is again very interesting. We didn't have that just a few years ago, so it's really up and coming that way. So there are a lot of teaching opportunities right from the UG, PG as well as the PhD level. So there are opportunities across research, teaching, and practice,
Yeah.
is what I would say. And I think there is one more element, the fourth element, which is non-traditional, which I'm also very much interested in, which is how do you apply this knowledge of health psychology and well-being to the larger population? What can you create
Mm.
in terms of um, offering something that is valuable that people need and bridging the gap between what people need and what you have to offer. So there is a lot of scope in that field as well, and that is like much unexplored, much unexplored. So I would say that is also an opportunity available to people.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. I mean, to see the progress of psychology from the time I was doing a master's to right now, it's just amazing. It's booming. So
Right,
lots of options
right.
available. Yeah. Thanks for sharing all of those options. And then, yeah, the last part of it is what advice do you have, or people who are looking or questioning, should I be a psychologist? Also, like the common thing about, in India, a lot of parents even today expect the child to either be a doctor or an engineer. And so that's also a question for a lot of people who are wanting to study psychology. Any advice you have for them or anything else that you want to share, just feel free to.
Sure. So I would say to those people who are considering different fields, right? And if they're really thinking of getting into psychology, the one thing I would say is psychology is a discipline where you really need to be good with people. You need to be good with um, wanting to wanting to help and to serve people. So if you have that uh, interest or inclination, I would say go for it. This is a field which
Mm.
can provide you that opportunity, and you can do it in a uh, very well trained, well qualified, dignified manner, which will give you a lot of respect and scope professionally. So that's one thing I would say to those who are considering getting into the field of psychology. Again, psychology has so many options. So now it's, like even if you're interested in psychology, which one should I go? Should I go into psycho-oncology? Should I go into health? I would say don't worry about all that. Take your time and explore. I would say at this level, I'm also exploring, and I'm sure you would say that about yourself in some way or the other. So I think in the field of psychology, which is vast, the mind is vast, mental health is also very vast. So we are just explorers. If you have even a small interest in uh, human mind, human behavior, or just in general about how things work or why something works the way it works, get into the field, explore it, um, and yeah, just enjoy it. I think the important thing which is missing today in our field is, the kind of excitement and wonder which people have in so many other fields, like, wow, we discovered something. Or so that I think is missing, and we need that a lot more.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would just say if you're considering it, go for it. There's a lot of opportunity available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That I completely agree with everything you said. And yes, it's a vast field, and you have to create opportunities for yourself sometimes and create your own pathway. But I love that, and
Right.
more things are coming up. Well, thank you. I really exhausted you, but I'm sure this will be very helpful for everybody,
Yeah.
and hopefully also makes the course more well known, and it reaches more people.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would just say for those who are interested in health psychology, there are two institutes that I know of, but again, do your own research. One is Christ University, which offers an MSc Psychology in Health and Wellbeing, among many other courses at the master's level. There's also University of Hyderabad, which actually originally started this
Mm.
course. And in fact, University of Hyderabad is the only university in India which has a department of health psychology, the only one in India.
Oh,
And they offer courses at the UG, PG, as well as PhD level in health psychology. So BSc, health psychology, MSc, and PhD in health psychology. So for your viewers, there's a lot of options. So check it out, check out their websites, and yeah, select something which really resonates with you.
yeah.
That's what I
Thank you.
would say.
Yeah, that's great. So definitely. Thank you so much again, Joel. This was great. It was great to
Been
reconnect
a pleasure.
and great
Yeah.
to see your perspective. Your anthropology side really comes through.
It comes through,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for watching and let us know if you have any questions in the comments below.